Ladies and gentlemen, what we witnessed last night wasn't just a debate. It was a public execution of the Democrat agenda. J.D. Vance, armed with facts and unwavering resolve, left Tim Walz stuttering and grasping at straws. But here's the real shocker. Walz, in a moment of either profound stupidity or shocking callousness, admitted to being friends with school shooters. Yeah, the media is in full damage control mode, but we've got the unfiltered truth, so buckle up because this debate aftermath is about to blow your mind. Now, check this out. Are you listening? Just as J.D. Vance dominated the debate with clear recorded facts, you need clarity on the road. Recent reports show drivers with dash cams are 60% less likely to be found at fault in traffic accidents. This easy-to-install dash cam, like Vance's debate prep, records every detail, offering collision documentation and 24/7 security with 4K Ultra HD night vision and loop recording. It is your debate moderator on the road. Don't let your driving record be misrepresented like Tim Walz statements. Visit carvisionx.com for free shipping and bonuses. Protect your truth on the road, just as Vance protected his in the debate. Okay, so I think the debate can really be summed up with one meme. You know, you've probably seen this meme before in various iterations, but this is the meme that Vance dominated a shaking and stuttering Walz. There's Vance just tossing Walz right into the water. Yeah, we all witnessed that last night. Something else. And yeah, I gotta say, I gotta say this. Of course, Vance, he's a great guy. Maybe I wanted to see like a Vivek or a Kerry Lake or even an RFK in that position. But last night, he really kind of warmed my heart. I don't know if it was the beard, but his beard's actually getting some play now. Yeah, they're saying it's toxic masculinity. But before we get into all that, I want to play for you. This is the school shooter moment was one thing, but it was the moment when he completely faltered on his position about what happened when he was in China. We've got the clip here. We're going to play it for you in case you missed it, but it's really worth watching again because I found it I must have watched it like 20 times last night because it was just so destructive to his campaign. Where is it? Come on now. Okay, look, this is our new format. Just take it easy. I'm going to get it for you. We will pull up the clip. I just had it loaded up. Okay, yeah, I'm scrolling, guys. Just chill. Here it is. Tim Walz is asked why he lied about being in Hong Kong during the Tiananmen Square massacre. He says he grew up in a small town. Let's watch together.
He's been about that.
Governor Walz, you said you were in Hong Kong during the deadly Tiananmen Square protests in the spring of 1989. But Minnesota Public Radio and other media outlets are reporting that you actually didn't travel to Asia until August of that year. Can you explain that discrepancy?
Yeah, well, and to the folks out there who didn't get at the top of this, look, I grew up in small rural Nebraska, town of 400, town that you rode your bike with your buddies till the streetlights come on, and I'm proud of that service. I joined the National Guard at 17, worked on family farms, and then I used the GI Bill to become a teacher, passionate about it, a young teacher. My first year out, I got the opportunity in the summer of '89 to travel to China. 35 years ago, be able to do that. I came back home.
He's filibustering. He is running out the clock because he knows he has been asked a question that he has lied about. Disgraceful. I was watching this. I'm like, get to the point, man. Oh, you went to you rode a bike with street lamps and everything?
Home and then started a program to take young people there. We would take basketball teams, we would take baseball teams, we would take dancers, and we would go back and forth to China. The issue for that was to try and learn. Now, look, my community knows who I am. They saw where I was at. Look, I will be the first to tell you, I have poured my heart into my community. I've tried to do the best I can, but I've not been perfect. And I'm a knucklehead at times. But
You lied. You lied to everybody. You lied to your community and your constituents all this time.
Always been about that. Those same people elected me to Congress for 12 years. And in Congress, I was one of the most bipartisan people, working on things like farm bills that we got done, working on veterans benefits. And then the people of Minnesota were able to elect me to governor twice. So look, my commitment has been from the beginning to make sure that I'm there for the people, to make sure that I get this right. I will say more than anything, many times I will talk a lot. I will get caught up in the rhetoric. But being there, the impact it made, the difference it made in my life, I learned a lot about China. I hear the critiques of this. I would make the case that Donald Trump should have come on one of those trips with us. I guarantee you he wouldn't be praising Xi Jinping about COVID. And I guarantee you he wouldn't start a trade war that he ends up losing. So this is about trying to understand the world. It's about trying to do the best you can for your community. And then it's putting yourself out there and letting your folks understand what it is. My commitment, whether it be through teaching, which I was good at, or whether it was being a good soldier or was being a good member of Congress, those are the things that I think are the values that people care about.
Governor, just to follow up on that, the question was, can you explain the discrepancy?
All I said on this was I got there that summer and misspoke on this. So I will just, that's what I've said. So I was in Hong Kong and China during the democracy protests went in. And from that, I learned a lot of what needed to be in governance.
Governor Walz.
He learned how to be a good communist is what he means. Totally lying right there. And I was actually shocked that CBS asked the question. Wow. We got, of course, here's the beard thing. Yes, Vance's beard matters. This is from Politico. Vance is the first White House wannabe to wear facial hair in 80 years. Research indicates that voters see beards as more masculine. That can be positive to some, but to others, especially women, it can be negative, conveying aggression and opposition to feminist ideals. So now they're attacking Vance because he has a beard. What will they do next? Jack Posobiec says, second time he said, I've been friends with school shooters. What does he mean by this? I don't even know. I mean, the memes that came out of this were ridiculous. Even Donald Trump tweeting out and posting some of these memes. New York Times posting that Vance's dominant debate performance shows why he's Trump's running mate. They admitted right there, he dominated. I've got lots of media reaction. Wait till you see some of this. But here is... this is the clip. Insurrection Barbie says, tanked the Harris presidency.
Parents. I've been in that office with those Sandy Hook parents. I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it. Look.
What did he say?
I've become friends with school shooters. In that office with those Sandy Hook.
That ended the Harris Walz campaign right there. Let's get into some of these reactions. Where should we go, guys? We've got MSNBC's Rachel Maddow claims, although J.D. Vance was very slick, Tim Walz beat him. Oh, really?
Bad moment for Tim Walz. I think the big picture takeaway from this is that one of these candidates is much slicker than the other, is a much more practiced kind of professional debate style speaker, and the other candidate won. There was one bad moment for Tim Walz in this debate where he got mixed up and embarrassed in answering a question about exactly what month he had been in China in relation to the Tiananmen Square protest. But then on guns, on January 6th, on Obamacare, on the economy, on blaming everything on the border, back again on health care, on abortion, on every issue on substance, J.D. Vance was very polished and very slick, and Tim Walz beat him on all the substantive points. At least that.
He was slick. Tim Walz beat him. Yeah, sure. Here it is, CNN admitting that Tim Walz bombed the debate. So going from MSNBC, or Rachel Maddow, We go to CNN.
I think there was a clear lack of preparation and execution here on Walz's part.
I think actually it's the opposite. I think he had too much preparation.
Maybe, yeah.
He had so many lines that he was clearly trying to say that he didn't listen and said when J.D. Vance said one of the many things he really hit Kamala Harris on, not Tim Walz, but Kamala Harris, he didn't respond because he clearly had things in his mind. I think the lack of interviews that he has done with national media, with local media, it showed. He needed more reps.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, J.D. Vance is much more experienced at this, at public speaking, at defending himself, at pivoting.
Yep. Definitely Walz won that debate. Marjorie Taylor Greene posted this: find someone that looks at you the way CBS moderators look at Tim Walz. Yeah, it was a 3-on-1 debate. Everybody saw it. Drew Hernandez pointing that fact out. CBS girl bosses are muting J.D. Vance now to cover for Tampon Tim. Do you remember this moment? This was ridiculous. He had to fact check them when they fact checked him.
Apply for parole.
And just to clarify for our viewers, Springfield, Ohio does have a large number of Haitian migrants who have legal status, temporary protected status.
Well, Margaret, but
thank you, Senator. We have so much to get to.
Margaret, I think it's important because
we're going to turn out of the economy. Thank
Margaret,
you.
The rules were that you guys weren't going to fact check, and since you're fact checking me, I think it's important to say what's actually going on. So there's an application called the CBP One app, where you can go on as an illegal migrant, apply for asylum or apply for parole, and be granted legal status at the wave of a Kamala Harris open border wand. That is not a person coming in, applying for a green card and waiting for 10 years. That is the facilitation of illegal immigration, Margaret, by our own leadership.
Thank you, Senator, for describing the legal process. We have so much to get to, Senator.
Those laws have been on the books since 1990.
Thank you, gentlemen.
The CBP One app has not been on the books since 1990. It's something that Kamala Harris created, Margaret.
Gentlemen, the audience can't hear you because your mics are cut. And just to clarify.
Now, what's interesting is this guy here, Brian, pull up the vert shot. After watching the vice presidential debate last night, this guy downloads the CBP One app to find out how easy it is to gain access into our country. There's no way to cross-check who I say I am with who I really am. Watch this.
After watching that vice presidential debate last night, I was curious just how easy that CBP One app was to use. So I downloaded it.
So once you create an account from the main page, you just have to choose if you're the smuggler or the smugglee. Then you just got to fill in basic info, first name, last name, all the basics. I don't know my gender yet. I'm still figuring that out. Now it's time to take a selfie, and passport or any identification is also optional. Then it asks you which state you're headed to. I said I didn't know the address. I didn't know the city. I just chose California. And then I added the first zip code that Google gave me for California. And that's it. I'm good to go. It does let you choose between like 8 different bridges to meet under. I chose the Eagle Pass Bridge to meet under. I just have to wait until noon, so a couple more hours to actually make my appointment.
Now I know what you're saying. That's not you, that's Carlos Mencia. Correct. I was just trying to show you how easy it was to register. I'm just a white dude from Michigan. This took me 5 minutes. Someone who really wants to get into this country, get temporary asylum with open-ended expiration dates, they'll just use their own picture. I said I have no documentation, I have no ID, no passport, no license. There is no way to cross-check who I say I am with who I really am. All they go off of is the picture that you submit. After watching
that's how easy it is. And he got fact-checked for that. Now, there were a couple moments. Now, you heard him say that he was friends with the school shooter. Immediately after the debate, Walz apparently was hungry for some pizza. And he was asked about that question.
What do you think your strongest
Brian, you go, yeah.
I think it was a good debate. The public got to see a contrast. And I think the ending sums it up. The democracy issue is important.
The ending?
Governor, you said you become friends with school shooters during the debate. Can you clarify what you meant on that?
Can you clarify what you meant when you said you befriended school shooters?
Totally ignoring the press. But the ending of the debate, we got some more reaction to. I'm going to get to that in a second. Megyn Kelly totally just trashing them. But we have, just bear with me here. Here is his reaction again with more
question come up about.
Do you want to clarify the comments that you made about school shooters?
Yeah, and look, you got to see me. These folks know me. I'm super passionate about this. The question come up about school shooting. We're talking about everything except school shootings. And I sat as a member of Congress with the Sandy Hook parents, and it was a profound movement. David Hogg is a good friend of mine. You have seen me do this. I was talking about being people where there are school shooters, and I need to be more specific on that, but I am passionate about this. This one, for my wife and I, is just, as teachers, as parents, is so personal.
Oh, it's so personal. He didn't answer the question, though. He did not answer the question. Rob Dew, producer from InfoWars, posted this. These demtards love flailing on the ground like victims. No, Brian, bring it to the... You don't need to do this. The vertical shot. You don't need that. Only when I tell you to, please. These demtards love flailing on the ground like victims. MSNBC is now accusing J.D. Vance of mansplaining.
That might be the worst moment, like muting powers. And I actually think if you're a woman, that might be the worst moment J.D. Vance had, because he was going to mansplain right over that mute button. He was, and again, I don't pretend to know how everyone will react to this. I think that a lot of women in positions of authority that should command respect just by virtue of that dynamic will see themselves in some dude that disrespected them and talked over. I mean, there was a moment like that with the vice presidential in the Harris-Pence debate where she's...
I'm speaking. Yeah. All this, man, this stuff just drives me crazy. Watching these people all day long. Oh. But let's take a look. Okay, let's go to Megyn Kelly.
The moderators were not much better. They were a little better than ABC News. But J.D. Vance put on a masterclass in how to handle biased moderators and a lying opponent. And it was a thing of beauty. It was beautiful. It was like every Republican or Republican voter or person who, in this case, is rooting for Trump knows exactly what I am feeling right now, which is just, thank God. Just listening to a guy go out there and know how to raise the right points in response to the right questions, to not take the moderator's bullshit. It was really cleansing. It was just, you never see it. It's just so great to see. The moderators are gross. Margaret Brennan, not only do you desperately need some bronzer, you need to understand how to moderate a fair debate when you have half the country who's rooting for the other guy. She didn't even attempt to be fair. I mean, I'm going to utter words I never thought I would utter. I preferred Norah O'Donnell. Actually, oh my God. This Margaret Brennan, she used to have a reputation as being kind of like reasonable. Like she flirted with the Catholic right, the Christian right, and when you get on issues of faith, she could be kind of like normal. No. She's been in the soup too long. She's gone totally native over there at CBS News. You are terrible, madam. Terrible.
Okay, we decided to stop. We got Chris Cuomo here. Listen to this.
Right, and there is no doubt in my mind. However,
this is Geraldo. Forgive me.
There is no doubt in my mind. However, Governor Walz did in terms of sincerity, that Vance won this debate.
Does Governor Walz have a problem with the truth? No.
They were talking at one point. Vance wanted to correct something about how Haitians got into this country. And he was right, and the moderators wouldn't let him correct it. It's very interesting.
But at the beginning, the two issues driving the campaign right now are Harris has a big deficit on the economy, Harris has a big deficit on immigration, and Republicans were happy tonight and Democrats a little bit nervous that on those two issues, Vance carried it.
J.D. Vance is much more experienced at this, at public speaking, at defending himself, at pivoting.
It's the audacity. I agree with you that we're in year 9 and no one knows how to cover the audacity. The audacity is that someone should have said, stop it, stop. Are you effing kidding me? And they should have dropped that F-bomb, right? I mean, they should have just, this is a debate. This may be the only chance people have to see the difference.
There is
and we saw the difference. We saw the difference, and it was clearly J.D. Vance winning. Politico says J.D. Vance's facial hair is about conveying aggression. Everybody thinks J.D. Vance won the debate. Let's hear Laura Loomer's take.
Creepy. Tomorrow, when people go back and watch it, Tim Walz actually said that he is friends with school shooters. Very creepy. He's got this really dark demonic energy to him. And he actually said tonight during the debate that he is friends with school shooters. Why would you want to be friends with someone who tried to gun down children? I mean, the Democrat Party is the party of destruction and death. They want to abort children at 9 months old. And apparently, well, they want to be friends with school shooters. Don't take it.
Yeah, beyond disturbing indeed. Okay, this is good. This is really good. I want to show you this. This is a behavior expert analyzing Tim Walz with Dr. Phil. Let's check this out.
And okay, now the next one is China, Hong Kong, when he's talking about was he in Tiananmen Square or not. Right. And he said, were you there or were you not? Right. And what do you want to look for in that? Oh, I'm going to look for the things that tell us we know he wasn't there. And this, I'll put all my money on this. And we're going to see fear, we're going to see panic, we're going to see shame. And the grief muscle as well. So we'll throw everything's in this one. All right, let's take a look and we'll listen.
You said you were in Hong Kong during the deadly Tiananmen Square protests in the spring of 1989. But Minnesota Public Radio and other media outlets are reporting that you actually didn't travel to Asia until August of that year. Can you explain that discrepancy?
Yeah, well, and to the folks out there who didn't get at the top of this, look, I grew up in small rural Nebraska, town of 400, town that you rode your bike with your buddies till the streetlights come on, and I'm proud of that service. I joined the...
Yeah, as that head goes sideways, that's panic. Because he's not sure how he's going to defend this. He knows the question's coming, so he's got something ready, but it's not coming out the way he thought about it. So he's got inner dialogue going on. He's thinking about it. That's why I see that head turn, those eyes get really, really wide. I know what that looks like. That's what's happening there. Yeah, and you see the grief muscle again here. Yes. Oh, yeah, the upside down horseshoe right there. And the rest of this is panic. We see his eyes doing this. That's panic. And this, yeah, I know. And these up here, usually we look at that and we say, oh, that's disgust or whatever. But this is a panic mode. See how his head's coming forward and his chin is up like that? He's trying to get that out as fast as he can. And this is one of the only illustrations we see from him as he's talking. And this is the one that's come out further from his body than anything else because he's trying to make sure I want you to believe me. You got to believe me. That's what we're seeing, the panic here in that. Wide eyes, grief muscle, and everything's far out. Let's finish the clip here.
Guard at 17, worked on family farms, and then I used the GI Bill to become a teacher, passionate about it, a young teacher.
You said
Okay, you know, I spent a lot of time, as I said, in the litigation arena preparing witnesses. And we always prepared witnesses to tell the truth effectively. We never prepared them to lie or spin, just tell the truth effectively. And don't you agree that if someone asks you a question and you want to be persuasive, you should answer the question first and then explain it? Like, were you there last night? Yes. Let me tell you why. As opposed to, were you there last night? Well, you know, wait a minute. Were you there or were you not? Don't you?
I don't know why these clips keep stopping. Well, you get the point. Of course, CBS News, they came out later. One of their pundits said, the civility that we saw tonight may be a mistake by Democrats. Think about those words right there. The civility. They don't want them to be civil. They want them to be on the attack and caustic and toxic. Listen to this guy.
And I think the civility that we saw tonight may be a mistake by Democrats, quite frankly. I talked at the outset of energizing this base. I was just in Ohio, and many Democrats were livid about what's going on in Springfield. I think Walz missed an opportunity to really push the racial insensitivity there. There was a sense of trying to be affable, as John said. And I think what we're going to see from this point on is the civility being laid aside. And as we've said, from this point on, gloves are off, I think.
Yeah, that's what they want. They just want everyone on the attack. ABC's Lindsay Davis likens Tim Walz's debate performance with Biden's debate performance. That's just how bad it was. Libs of TikTok.
Effective, but I was struck by that as well. I think it was something that the team working with Donald Trump had hoped he had done during the presidential debate more than he did. J.D. Vance said it repeatedly tonight, saying, listen, she's had nearly 4 years to do that as vice president. Why hasn't she? I feel like that was really effective. But I think overall tonight, if you're an undecided voter in America, I don't know that you come away with tonight with an additional clarity. It kind of reminded me of the June 27th debate when Kamala Harris that night said of Joe Biden, it was a slow start, but a strong finish. And that's how I felt that Tim Walz kind of did tonight. You know, to use Tim Walz's own words, I mean, a lot about this debate tonight was weird. There were uncomfortable, cringy moments. But overall, I think my takeaway was something that Reince Priebus said on the outset, which was that J.D. Vance needed to come away as that humble, likable guy from Hillbilly Elegy. It seemed like he did perhaps get some points.
Yeah, no question about that. Okay, let's get the full clip here. Sarah Rose posting, hell is frozen over. Chris Cuomo bodies the CBS moderators for trying to fact check J.D. Vance.
Of illegal by
When they were talking, at one point, Vance wanted to correct something about how Haitians got into this country. And he was right. And the moderators wouldn't let him correct it. It's very interesting.
Margaret, but thank you, Senator. We have so much to get to.
Margaret, I think it's important because
we're going to turn out of the economy. Thank
Margaret,
you.
The rules were that you guys weren't going to fact check. And since you're fact checking me, I think it's important to say what's actually going on. That is the facilitation of illegal immigration, Margaret, by our own leadership.
Thank you, Senator, for describing the legal process. We have so much to get to, Senator.
Those laws have been on the books since 1990.
Thank you, gentlemen.
The
we want to have.
app has not been on the books
since 1990. It's something that Kamala Harris created, Margaret.
Gentlemen, the audience can't hear you because your mics are cut.
Well, there you have it. And look, Vance was right. Okay? There's nuance to it. But the bigger problem is why he was moved on. We've got so much to get to. Says who? You know what I mean? Like, what is the schedule here? So you have a list of topics? That's not what it's about. It's about how the American people can access these two men and the two theories and the narratives, and you got to let them have their speak, because now you created a story where you're the problem, which when they were talking.
Wow. Yep. Hell has frozen over. Chris Cuomo definitely laying it out there. Big time Trump hater. Jonathan Karl, listen to this.
Why they've done it, but they've kept him, you know, but first, David, I got to say, I think that Walz did seem unsteady. And frankly, what I saw in Walz is somebody who has not faced questions on a national stage since he became the Democratic nominee. He was simply out of practice. I mean, I don't know why they've done it, but they've kept him out of the limelight. They've kept him away from reporters. They haven't had him do any interviews, and he was clearly unsteady through much of that debate. And in contrast, J.D. Vance was very smooth. He took the arguments not to Walz. He was very respectful of Walz, took it to Kamala Harris. You know, but.
And here's the moment. J.D. Vance is already at it, leaving the stage, leaving Tim Walz by himself.
As we watch important things. And that's why President Biden tomorrow is heading to North Carolina and South Carolina,
J.D.
and
Vance,
Florida and Georgia the next.
J.D. Vance has left the building, and Walz is just standing there like the loser that he is.
And here we see the vice presidential candidates there. Tim Walz standing a lone man behind his lectern. Ed, give us your last.
So, the aftermath of this debate has exposed the left's desperation. Even with moderators trying to shield Walz, Vance's message of putting America first resonated with viewers. Walz's bizarre statements, including his friendship with school shooters, his stuttering, and his outright lies about his past, were all on full display. While the media frantically tries to protect the Biden-Harris-Walz agenda, the American people saw what really happened. And now we want to hear from you. What moment from the debate do you think was the most damaging to the Democrats' credibility? Comment below.